Hey there. We're running a weekly giveaway where you can win $10 cash via PayPal just by leaving a comment. One comment per video counts, and the more videos you comment on, the better your chances. Full details are in the description below. Good luck, and thanks for being here. Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where imagination floats you softly into dreamland. Breathe, rest, and sleep.
Hello, dear listener. I'm Owen Thorne, and I invite you to settle in for a gentle, peaceful journey. You've come here tonight, seeking rest and soft, quiet dreams. And I'm here to guide you with calm words and soothing images. Take a moment to notice where you are. Perhaps you're nestled into your bed, your body gently sinking into the mattress. Feel that soft support beneath you. Allow your shoulders to drop, your jaw to loosen, and your breathing to slow, in and out. The world around you grows a touch quieter, a bit more hushed. You can feel yourself entering a realm of calm where each breath feels deeper. Each exhalation carries away a small piece of tension. Tonight, we will explore a moonlit Japanese garden, adorned with cascading wisteria blooms. Breathe in the gentle promise of tranquility, and let your thoughts drift, unhurried and safe. In these early moments, your mind might still buzz with the echoes of the day, tasks uncompleted, conversations replayed, worries about the coming dawn. Acknowledge them gently, then let them pass like clouds moving across a summer sky. Focus instead on the quiet warmth radiating through your body. Notice the softness of the sheets and the hush in the air. Each time you inhale, picture a cool, refreshing breeze passing over a still pond, carrying any fragments of tension away. With every exhale, sense your body relaxing, easing away from the busyness of daily life. Let your breathing grow slow and soft. Let your eyelids grow heavier. In this moment, in the calming hush of twilight, you are safe and at ease. Now, let us gently transition into a soothing tale, immersing ourselves in the unfolding wonder of a secret garden beneath the moon's tender glow. High in the night sky, a rounded moon casts a silver sheen over an ancient Japanese garden, where the hush of nighttime wraps every stone and blossom in a gentle hush. A small wooden bridge arches over a narrow stream, polished smooth by centuries of footsteps, sometimes bustling with daylight visitors, though now visited only by a quiet presence. Tonight, there is a certain peace in that garden, an air of patient waiting. A single figure, a solitary traveller, wanders the winding paths, stepping carefully across polished stepping stones. The traveller moves slowly, letting the hush of this moonlit haven sink deeply into each breath, each gentle footstep. Stately stone lanterns line the edges of the walkways. Their carved surfaces glimmer in the soft light, forming delicate pools of illumination that seem to float upon the ground. The traveller pauses at one of these lanterns, fingertips brushing gently across the smooth stone, sensing the coolness. The night air is soft, almost velvety, and a faint fragrance lingers, a blend of moss, damp stones, and the sweet promise of flowers in bloom. In the midst of it all, An ancient wisteria vine stands like a guardian, draping its flowering branches over a low wooden arbor. The flowers glisten in the moonlight, little clusters of lilac and amethyst that sway gently in the slight breeze. In the distance, a koi pond waits in serene stillness, its surface mirroring the pale orb of the moon. Occasionally, gentle ripples break the water's glass-like reflection. A graceful koi rises near the surface, flashing its gold and white scales before sinking back into the depths. It is quiet, so quiet that the faintest splash resonates like a lullaby in the hush of the garden. This is a place where time seems suspended, where worries whisper themselves into silence, and where the old stones and wooden arches preserve the memory of countless peaceful nights. The traveller continues, drawn by the soft rustling of leaves overhead. A small grove of bamboo stands nearby, tall and slender. Each stem stands upright, yet they bow in a whispery dance when the wind drifts by. Their soothing rustle sounds like the gentle hush of distant waves, weaving through the night with a hush that stills the mind. Soft footsteps approach the arbor where the wisteria drapes its graceful cascade of blooms. The blossoms release a perfume that hangs on the air, something delicately sweet, almost reminiscent of honey and late spring mornings. Beneath the arch, the petals form a living curtain, shimmering in the pale moonlight. Every element in this garden feels alive yet utterly calm. The shallow stream meandering through glistens with reflected starlight. Moss-covered stones invite bare feet to step upon them, feeling their spongy softness. There is no rush here, no clamour or commotion. It is a sanctuary where the traveller finds comfort. A small wooden bench sits beneath the wisteria's canopy, its smooth surface worn with age. The traveller settles down, allowing themselves to be enveloped by the gentle lullaby of night sounds. Distant crickets chirping, leaves brushing one another, an occasional drip of water from a bamboo spout. Everything fits together in harmony, as if woven into an age-old tapestry of stillness and grace. Time passes without measurement. The traveller's gaze drifts from one tranquil sight to another. First to the koi pond, where fish occasionally glide into view. Then to the bamboo, whose slender forms sway gently. Then back to the wisteria, whose hanging blossoms dance like painted lanterns in the silvered air. The mind of the traveller softens, releasing lingering tension, as though lulled by the garden's timeless presence. In this moonlit sanctuary, there is nothing to solve, nothing that demands immediate attention. There is only the hush, the gentle night air, and the silent companionship of a garden that has witnessed centuries of twilights. An old wooden gate, half hidden by trailing vines, leads farther inside the garden. The traveller rises, feeling curiosity tug gently at them. Each footstep is measured and soft upon the stone path. On the far side of the gate lies a small courtyard, enclosed by tall hedges. In the centre stands a simple stone basin, brimming with water that reflects the moon's gentle brightness. On a low stool rests a bamboo ladle. The traveller kneels carefully, lifts the ladle, and pours a thin stream of water back into the basin. The droplets create small ripples that spread out in delicate circles, and within those ripples, the reflection of the moon wavers as though bowing gracefully. Beyond the courtyard, a narrow path of smooth gravel leads to a subtle rise in the landscape. Low shrubs and flowers flank the path, their leaves a soft green under the pale light. The hush grows deeper still. It is the hush of a garden in which centuries of devotion have been poured, a place meant to evoke contemplation, serenity, and a union with nature's enduring calm. As the traveller climbs the gentle slope, they see lanterns perched to guide the way, each one shaped like a pagoda. Faint glows spill onto the gravel, creating pools of moonlit silver. Atop the slope, a small tea house emerges from the shadows. Its wooden beams and paper walls gleam under the moon's gaze, and just outside the entrance sits a pair of stone slippers. An invitation, perhaps, or a subtle sign of respect for those who once held tea ceremonies there. The traveller stands quietly, sensing the slow heartbeat of the garden around them. There's no sound of conversation, no flurry of activity, only the faint memory of soft voices that once shared tea and solace within. The traveller presses a hand lightly to the sliding door, but it remains gently closed. It is enough to stand here, breathing in the hush and letting the mind wander into a place of calm reverence. A gentle wind drifts across the slope, carrying with it the fragrance of wisteria blooms. The traveller inhales, and for a moment they recall some faraway memory of a warm afternoon in late spring. Yet the memory fades softly, replaced by the quiet spectacle of the garden at night, where the moonlit blossoms guide one's thoughts toward the promise of rest, soothing away the chaos of the daytime world. Descending the slope, the traveller follows the path back, weaving through the labyrinth of stones and moss, crossing the wooden bridge again, and pausing near the trickling stream. All the while, the hush of the bamboo grove gently accompanies each step. There is, amidst all this stillness, a sense of gentle anticipation, as though the garden itself breathes with the moonlit air. The traveller notices the soft glow on the wisteria petals, the gentle sway of their delicate clusters. The breeze stirs them, sending light patterns of shadow dancing across the ground. It is a silent performance orchestrated by nature, one that asks for no applause, no grand flourish, only quiet presence. The traveller rests a hand on a boulder near the arbour, feeling the slow warmth that has been stored from the day's sun. And though the night grows ever deeper, there is no chill, only a faint, pleasant coolness brushing the skin. Time seems fluid here, measured not by clocks, but by the drifting clouds overhead, by the shifting patterns of moonlight, and by the soft hush of one's own heartbeat. In the comfort of this timeless space, the traveller's thoughts loosen and float away, one by one, like small petals carried by a gentle breeze. Gone is the rush of deadlines, the press of obligations. All that remains is the subtle hum of being alive in a tranquil garden, guided by moonlight and the quiet presence of ancient stones. If you were to peer closer at the wisteria arbor, you might see tiny creatures nestled among the blossoms, small moths with wings patterned like petals, or drowsy bees that have found a place to rest until morning. Perhaps the traveler notices these friends and feels a kindred spirit with their quiet, slumbering forms, each living creature finding a corner of calm. The air is fragrant and lightly sweet, a natural lullaby that nudges the traveler toward deeper rest. Around the garden, each plant and stone and delicate blossom stands in perfect balance, carefully cultivated through years of gentle tending. Wandering further, the traveler finds a small waterfall hidden behind a screen of tall grasses. The water spills over rocks in a gentle cascade, trickling into a shallow pool. Moonlight dances upon the water's surface, and the traveler stands mesmerized by the shifting reflections. The mild, constant rush of water is reassuring, a soft background song that quiets any anxious thoughts. The traveler crouches down to let a hand graze the water's surface, finding it cool and smooth, a subtle source of renewed calm. Small fish dart in and out of the shimmering pool, their movements slow and unhurried under the night sky. The garden extends in graceful curves, with each twist and bend of the path revealing another moment of subtle beauty. Perhaps a lone stone statue half covered in moss, or a cluster of rocks arranged in a way that suggests a mountain range in miniature. These symbolic designs speak of nature's grand landscapes, inviting contemplation while keeping the mind soothed. Lanterns are placed at intervals, each one carefully set to create the illusion of floating lights, guiding the traveler toward quiet wonders hidden by darkness. In these hidden corners, the garden seems to whisper that there is always more to discover if one has the patience to pause and listen. And so, the traveler walks at a pace that feels almost dreamlike, each footstep carefully measured, each breath deeper than the last. They trace the gentle curve of the path until they once again approach the arbor, dominated by the graceful wisteria vines. This time, the traveler steps beneath the canopy of blossoms and sits cross-legged on the soft moss, letting the petals cascade overhead. From this vantage point, the moonlight filters through the clusters of blooms, creating shifting patterns of light and shadow, almost like a living kaleidoscope. The traveler closes their eyes for a moment, inhaling the sweet night air, and feels the rhythmic pulse of the garden around them. A quiet synergy of water, wind, and soft moon glow. Far across the garden, beyond the tea house and the bamboo grove, the traveller imagines the horizon where the mountains rest, silhouetted by starlight. Yet that distant world feels so far away now, as though an entire night's gentle hush stands between these walls of serenity and whatever lies beyond. There is no need to rush toward anything. The night is patient. The garden is patient. The traveller, likewise, finds a kind of abiding patience that blossoms in the stillness of the moment. thoughts come and go, drifting like pale wisps of cloud across a dark sky. But they do not linger. Somewhere, a night bird calls softly, a gentle note that arcs through the calm air. Then silence returns, and all that remains is the quiet presence of blossoms and stones. This is a garden that has been cultivated not merely for beauty, but for the soul's refuge, a place to rest, to dream, to connect with the quiet rhythms of nature. And here, under the wistaria's arching branches, the traveller feels that gentle lull tugging them toward restful slumber. The feeling is like a warm cloak around the body, soft and reassuring. Though the traveller remains awake, they feel a spaciousness in the mind, a release from the burdens that typically weigh upon them. The moon continues its leisurely arc across the sky, and as it moves, the shadows shift. Petals gleam a little differently now, illuminated from a slightly different angle. Dew forms on the leaves, catching glimmers of moonlight in tiny beads. Each droplet is a universe of reflected light, a minuscule star caught on a wisteria petal. At times, a droplet falls, sending the faintest sound into the hush. The traveller's heart softens at this subtle music, a lullaby orchestrated by the night. Perhaps the traveller wonders if the garden dreams too. Dreams of centuries past, of quiet footsteps like theirs, of gardeners who once lovingly tended the shrubs and trees. In that reverie, the traveller feels interconnected with all who have found solace here. After a while, the traveller rises again, gently brushing a few stray petals from their lap, and wanders toward a small clearing beside the koi pond. The pond's surface remains serene, reflecting the moon's pale glow. A winding path of stepping stones crosses it, and the traveller steps lightly across, pausing at each stone to absorb the reflections below. The koi glide lazily, their fins trailing ribbons of colour in the water. Their motion is hypnotic, as if they move to a gentle, unheard melody. Step by step, the traveller reaches the far side, where a single blossom drifts, carried by a slow current, swirling in a delicate dance. The traveller watches it, entranced by how effortlessly it floats, reminding them that there is grace in letting go, in allowing oneself to flow with life's gentle currents. Beyond the pond, a small rock garden spans a level patch of ground. Raked gravel forms circular patterns around carefully placed stones, each swirl resembling gentle ripples on water. The traveller stands at its edge, taking in the simplicity of its design. It is a reminder that emptiness can hold a quiet fullness, that minimalism in form can convey boundless serenity. Each stone stands like a small island, surrounded by waves of gravel. A hush settles deeper in the traveller's heart, a gentle acceptance of stillness. At this moment, the traveller might notice how easy it is to breathe, how each breath comes in slowly, drifts out gently, carrying away the last hints of tension. Soon, the traveller turns back toward the arbour, drawn again to the wistaria's enchanting presence. The soft fragrance continues to beckon, a warm note in the night air. The blossoms sway and rustle with faint echoes of the breeze, as though they beckon a gentle rest. The traveller, feeling the inevitability of deep relaxation, once more finds that wooden bench beneath the drooping clusters. Sitting down, they take a long, slow inhale, eyes drifting over the illuminated petals, the calm koi pond, and the silhouettes of stone lanterns in the distance. A sense of profound calm washes over them, whispering that it is time to rest, to sink into the soft arms of night. The traveller closes their eyes, letting the gentle hum of the garden lull their spirit. Perhaps they recall the faint tinkling of the waterfall, the hush of bamboo in the breeze, the subtle call of a night bird. It all forms a tapestry of sound that guides them deeper into a comforting haze of near sleep. In this hush, there is no sense of isolation, only communion with the abiding stillness. For a while, the traveller simply exists, breathing in unison with the quiet breath of the garden. As the night draws closer to its deepest hour, the moon's light seems to soften, bathing the garden in a milky glow. The traveller's mind, now unburdened, drifts gently, like a wisteria petal riding the breeze. A tranquil heaviness settles over tired limbs, inviting them to surrender. In the hush of that sacred space, the traveller feels the boundary between wakefulness and dream begin to blur. The night urges quiet, the garden offers solace, and the wisteria stands as a sentinel, sheltering the traveller in its fragrant embrace. Now, the garden's lullaby gently recedes into the background, and all that remains is the steady rhythm of breath. Each inhale feels softer, each exhale more releasing. The hush grows warmer, closer, and the mind feels lighter with every passing moment. Drift now into a deeper peace, as though you, dear listener, have joined the traveller in that moonlit sanctuary. In this gentle space, your body and mind are free to rest. Thoughts float away on a silver tide of calm. There is no need to do anything, no need to be anywhere else. Let your shoulders soften and let your eyelids grow pleasantly heavy. Feel the warmth in your hands, in your feet, in the center of your chest. Notice how each breath seems to lengthen, easing you ever closer to a comforting sleep. Release yourself into the night's tender hold. Let the subtle rustle of leaves and the quiet trickle of water guide you downward into rest. Your body knows how to sleep. Your mind knows how to dream. Let them do so now in the serene heart of this ancient garden. There is no hurry. The story has served its purpose, gently guiding you into calm. The sweet perfume of wisteria lingers in your thoughts, and the quiet hush of the moonlit paths stands sentinel by your dreams. If your eyes have not yet closed, they may soon. If your breath has not yet slowed, it will in time. Imagine yourself safe, like the traveller resting on the bench, surrounded by the whispered lull of night. Feel the steady, comforting pulse of the earth beneath you, supporting you as you surrender to sleep. Softly now, the last traces of awareness slip into a gentle drift. The stones, the lanterns, the koi pond, the bamboo, All reside in a comforting blur at the edge of your dreams. The wisteria blossoms remain, shimmering in the moonlight, a guardian of soft slumber. Let them stand watch over your rest, as countless stars watch from above. May you find solace in this deep, healing sleep. May you awaken renewed and peaceful, the memory of this tranquil garden still lingering like a faint perfume. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well. Hello, and welcome. My name is Owen Thorne, and I'd like to invite you on a journey into deep serenity and peaceful slumber. For the next little while, allow yourself to leave behind the busyness of the day. Let each breath guide you gently toward a softer place inside, one where you can set aside your worries and simply be. With every slow inhale, feel your lungs expand, taking in comfort and tranquility. With every long, soothing exhale, feel stress flowing away, like a gentle tide receding from the shore. Notice the weight of your body resting wherever you are, and acknowledge how the cushions, blankets, or bed beneath you support every inch of you without question. Imagine tension dissolving from your forehead, your temples, your jaw. Allow your shoulders to soften, your hands to loosen, and your spine to gently settle into a position that feels just right. Now, as you continue to breathe in and out, picture a vast, open ocean. Its surface shimmers in soft, moonlit tones, reflecting a gentle glow onto the horizon. The air around you feels warm and comforting, carrying the faint scent of sea salt and distant blossoms. You might hear the hush of waves rolling in the distance, a steady lullaby of nature inviting your mind to drift. Envision a horizon that extends as far as you can see, where the sky melts into the sea in a seamless blend of blues and silver. You are safe here, cradled by the rhythm of the water and the promise of a magical realm that awaits. In this moment, let your breath grow even slower. Your eyelids feel heavier. As you slide deeper into this peaceful state, imagine all thoughts and concerns drifting to the edges of your awareness, making room for gentle wonder. Far out on a turquoise expanse, a solitary traveler drifts on a small vessel made of smooth, polished wood. The vessel moves calmly, propelled not by oars or sails, but by an unseen force beneath the surface of the water. The sky above is clear and vast, illuminated by the soft light of stars that shimmer like tiny lanterns guiding the way. Warm breezes carry the faint aroma of sea foam and petals from hidden island groves, filling the traveller's senses with promises of wonder. Ahead, an island of ancient renown rises from the heart of the ocean, its shoreline a gentle crescent of shimmering sands. This is the mystical island of Atlantis, rumoured to be lost to time, yet somehow present in this hushed dimension of dreams. Like a secret whispered across ages, Atlantis emerges in the traveller's sight, its shapes and contours laced with moonlight. As the vessel nears the shoreline, the traveller notices a soft glow emanating from the heart of Atlantis. There, beyond the silky stretch of beach, a pathway of smooth stones leads deeper into the island's lush interior. The gentle, rhythmic pulse of water upon sand echoes the soft hush of a sleeping world. The traveller steps onto the shore, the sand cushioning each footstep with a pleasant warmth. Even beneath the light of the moon, palms and tropical flowers line the path, rustling in a breeze that seems to whisper encouragement. Every rustle of leaf and petal feels like a quiet greeting, as if Atlantis itself is welcoming this wandering soul. And there, amidst the tranquil hush of nature, a vast structure slowly comes into view. A shimmering palace, as if afloat on a hidden lagoon, radiating a subtle golden light. Standing on the edge of this lagoon, the traveller gazes upon the floating palace. Its foundation appears to hover just above the water, rippling reflections dancing across its crystalline walls. Soft arches and spires of white stone rise gracefully, each adorned with delicate shells, smooth pearls, and subtle carvings that whisper of centuries past. In the stillness of the lagoon, the palace seems suspended between the sea and the stars, a bridge between earthly realms and ethereal dreams. Gentle light emanates from within, not harsh or glaring, but warm, like lanterns glowing through a veil of dawn mist. The traveller feels an unspoken invitation to come closer, to explore this mystical haven that floats so effortlessly, defying ordinary boundaries. A hush falls over the traveller's thoughts, replaced by a quiet curiosity and a sense of gentle awe. Approaching the palace, the traveller notices the water around the structure is remarkably clear, allowing glimpses of coral gardens and swaying seagrasses beneath the surface. Small, brightly coloured fish glide in peaceful schools, their fins shimmering with faint luminescence. Perhaps it is the magic of Atlantis that bestows this radiant hue upon the marine life. Or maybe it is simply nature's artistry in its purest form. As the traveller steps closer to the base of the palace, a smooth set of steps emerges from the water's edge, guiding the way. Each step is made from mother of pearl, catching the moonlight and reflecting pastel rainbows onto the palace walls. With each gentle footstep, the traveller ascends toward the palace entrance, heart calm and spirit open, as if drawn by a lullaby that only the soul can hear. Inside the palace, a spacious hall stretches out like an underwater cathedral. Moonlight filters through tall windows of shimmering quartz, creating shifting patterns on the marble floor, patterns reminiscent of ocean tides or drifting clouds. There is a soft hum of moving air, as if the palace itself breathes in tandem with the sea. Pillars fashioned from translucent stone reflect the gentle luminescence, and intricate mosaics line the walls, telling stories of Atlantis' distant past. The mosaics depict golden days when knowledge, harmony, and nature thrived in unison, capturing scenes of people tending to vibrant gardens, dancing in celebration, and resting by quiet pools. The traveller glides through the hall with measured steps, absorbing the calm energy that reverberates in every corner. There is no rush here, only a gradual unveiling of serene beauty. Deeper within the palace, the traveller comes across a courtyard open to the starlit sky. The courtyard encloses a circular pool fed by a gentle waterfall trickling down carved stones. The water's surface glimmers with starlight, and delicate lotus flowers float lazily, their petals resting like silken whispers on the water. The air is sweet with the scent of night-blooming flowers, pale blossoms that open only under the moon's gentle beams. The traveller pauses to watch the waterfall, each drop catching the light in a hypnotic display. The sound of flowing water merges with the traveller's own breath, forming a soothing rhythm that invites deeper tranquility. This courtyard feels timeless, an eternal respite where the soul can pause and simply exist in a state of quiet wonder. As the traveller continues on, winding corridors reveal hidden rooms and arches that overlook the open ocean. In these alcoves, plush cushions and woven rugs provide soft places to rest, inviting one to linger and gaze upon the horizon. The palace's walls seem designed to invite the outside world in. Gentle breezes flow through open corridors, carrying the faint call of seabirds and the hush of distant waves. It is as if the building itself breathes in harmony with the natural rhythms of wind and water, creating a dance of motion and a stillness. Each corridor is lit with soft orbs of glowing pearl, which hover weightlessly above delicate sconces. Their glow changes in subtle gradients, shifting from gentle gold to mellow lavender, mimicking the slow progression of day to night. Even time feels slower within these halls, as though every moment stretches into a quiet eternity of calm. Eventually, the traveller arrives at a grand yet welcoming chamber, where tall windows open to reveal a panoramic view of Atlantis' oceanic paradise. Curtains crafted from gossamer drift softly, moved by the sea breeze. A wide chaise, upholstered with velvet, the colour of dawn sky, faces the open windows. The traveller settles onto this inviting seat, feeling an indescribable peace radiate throughout the body. Outside, the sea expands in every direction, still and luminous under the moon's watchful gaze. The traveller notices how the water's surface appears alive with silvery ripples, reflecting the sky's pinpricks of light like a field of tiny crystals. Somewhere in the distance, gentle music arises, an ethereal sound woven from the hum of tides, the whisper of wind, and the quiet pulse of the palace's ancient magic. This music caresses the traveller's senses, easing tension and opening the heart to deeper reflection. Memories of the day slip away in this moment of serenity. The traveller's mind grows quiet, lulled by the palace's rhythmic stillness. Within that hushed mindscape, a story begins to unfold, a tale whispered by the palace walls themselves, telling of Atlantis' ancient dawn. Long ago, wise beings tended to lush gardens brimming with fruits and fragrant blossoms. They lived in harmony with the ocean, learning from its cyclical tides and nurturing the life that thrived beneath the waves. Grand gatherings took place in shimmering halls where voices of scholars, poets, and healers united in a chorus of shared wisdom. There were no boundaries between land and sea, sky and earth, mind and spirit. Instead, these realms merged into a tapestry of radiant unity. The floating palace served as a seat of learning, a beacon of peace that welcomed all who sought understanding. With every gentle breath, the traveller feels a connection to this legacy of serenity and insight. In the palace's presence, burdens lighten. The traveller's gaze drifts across the windows, focusing on the horizon, where faint hints of pre-dawn light begin to show. Night's deep blue softens into a mild glow, revealing subtle details of the floating palace that were hidden by darkness. Delicate etchings on columns, hidden passages lined with sea glass, and gardens blossoming under starlight. The shift from night to dawn occurs at a leisurely pace here, as though the sun itself has chosen to move more slowly, inviting the world to soak in every bit of twilight magic. And so the traveller remains, nestled in quiet reflection, letting this realm envelop the senses and cradle the spirit. After some time, though time here is measured more by the pulse of the waves than by hours or minutes, the traveller rises and follows a faint trail of glowing shells embedded in the floor. They lead to another part of the palace, where the ocean itself has been invited inside. In this space, a gentle tide flows under an arched walkway, carrying graceful sea creatures that twirl in the translucent water. The traveller pauses to watch luminous jellyfish drifting with languid elegance. their tendrils glimmering in pastel hues. Shoals of colourful fish swim between pillars, occasionally shimmering near the surface before disappearing into the watery depths. It is as if the boundary between land and ocean has been gently erased, allowing the traveller to walk alongside the sea in silent companionship. Further on, the traveller discovers a hidden garden. Instead of earthly soil, this garden grows from sand enriched by the ocean's gifts. Coral-like structures form archways, and in their crevices, exotic plants bloom. Some are shaped like tiny lanterns, glowing in soft purples and blues, while others have petals that look like pearly seashells. A quiet stream trickles through, guided by meandering channels carved into coral bedrock. Small birds with iridescent plumage flit among the foliage, releasing delicate chirps that echo through the garden. The air here feels alive with gentle energy, as though each plant, each pebble, and each droplet of water hums a faint lullaby of contentment. The traveller wanders along smooth pathways, feeling each step sink lightly into the warm sand, marvelling at how seamlessly the palace and nature exist together. In the centre of the garden stands a graceful sculpture, a woman with arms raised, offering a pearl to the sky. Legend says she represents the spirit of Atlantis, forever gifting wisdom to those who come with an open heart. The traveller pauses in front of the sculpture, noticing how the pearl in the statue's hands glows with gentle luminance. Rays of morning light now filter through an opening in the palace ceiling, illuminating the scene with a soft, golden hue. A sensation of warmth and reverence washes over the traveller. In that silent moment, the palace seems to speak through the hush of the wind and the distant flow of water, reminding all who enter of life's enduring beauty and the peace found in quiet surrender. Drawn onward, the traveller follows a spiral staircase carved from smooth stone flecked with mother of pearl. Each step resonates with a soothing vibration, almost like a gentle chime. The staircase winds upward, leading to a balcony perched high above the lagoon. From this vantage point, one can truly see how the palace appears to float, its curved edges blending with the shimmering water below. The balcony is draped in morning light now, the sun's rays playing across the horizon, painting the sky in pale oranges and soft pinks. Beneath that glow, Atlantis reveals more secrets: hidden coves, winding canals, and wave-kissed beaches. The tranquil sea extends beyond the island's edges, merging with an endless sky that cradles the realm in comforting stillness. The traveller lingers here, resting arms on the balcony's edge, breathing in the fragrance of salt air and sweet tropical blooms. A sense of gentle wonder fills the traveller's heart. No urgency, no demands, only the soft invitation to be fully present in this moment. From the balcony, one can hear seabirds calling in the distance, their voices clear yet soothing. The ocean's surface glitters under the early sun, sending tiny sparks of light dancing across the palace walls. This interplay of light and shadow, sea and sky, reminds the traveller of the delicate balance in all things. The more still one becomes, the more the subtleties of the world reveal themselves. A faint breeze carrying the scent of hibiscus, the quiet hush of waves in the lagoon, and the gentle warmth of sunlight that seems to hold the traveller in a tender embrace. Time seems to stretch, each minute an ocean of possibility, each breath a gentle tide that eases the traveller deeper into relaxation. After a while, the traveller descends and explores yet another wing of the palace, where luminous corridors give way to a wide, glass-like floor that allows a view straight into the ocean beneath. Here, the wonders of marine life continue their silent dance. Turtles gliding in slow motion, vibrant coral reefs swaying in the current, schools of fish shimmering in unison. The traveller walks slowly across this glass floor, mesmerised by the living tapestry below. It's as if the sea is sharing its hidden world, a realm that thrives in quiet acceptance of the rhythms of nature. Gentle waves lap at the palace's foundation, creating a soft vibration that resonates through the traveller's feet, calming, rhythmic, and harmonious, like a heartbeat that attunes the visitor to the pulsing life of Atlantis. Drawn back toward the heart of the palace, the traveller returns to the courtyard with the shimmering pool. Now bathed in the early rays of sunshine, the waterfall cascades through prisms of light, refracting small rainbows across the water. The lotus flowers, touched by sunlight, unfurl their petals further, revealing an inner glow that feels almost otherworldly. Sinking onto a smooth stone bench near the pool, the traveller closes their eyes for a moment, feeling the soft mist of the waterfall on the skin. Each droplet is cool and refreshing, a gentle reminder of the fluid magic all around. The hush of the courtyard, the subtle song of trickling water, and the cushion of warm stone beneath the traveller's body create a cradle of peace. In this space, mind and body align with the palace's quiet heartbeat, each inhale filled with calm, each exhale releasing any lingering tension. Time slips by without notice, and the traveller eventually becomes aware of a subtle beckoning from beyond the palace walls. Rising from the bench, they make their way through the grand hall, past translucent pillars, and out onto the sandy shores of Atlantis once more. There, the gentle lapping of the ocean welcomes the traveller back to the realm of open water. The floating vessel that brought them here gently waits, bobbing with the tide. Pausing at the water's edge, the traveller casts a final glance at the hovering palace, its arches glinting in the sun, its spires pointing toward the sky, like quiet prayers of peace. The memory of its halls, gardens, and hidden passageways fills the traveller with gratitude. Although it may one day fade from immediate sight, the solace it offered leaves an imprint on the traveller's heart, forever accessible through the gentle art of stillness and breath. Stepping into the vessel, the traveller settles into a comfortable position, letting the water carry them away from the island's shores. The vessel moves smoothly, a subtle current guiding it across the calm sea. In the distance, the palace remains visible for a while, a gleaming vision of white and gold floating above turquoise waters. Gradually, though, the outlines blur, becoming part of the vast expanse of sky and sea. Yet, the resonance of its peaceful presence lingers in the traveller's thoughts, like the last notes of a lullaby. As the vessel drifts further, the horizon opens up, the pastel colours of dawn gently giving way to brighter daytime hues. The breeze remains warm, the air comfortable, and the traveller drifts in a state of serene contemplation, carrying a sense of Atlantis' magic in the heart. Now, in the openness of the endless ocean, the traveller feels every muscle loosen, every breath slow, guided by the cradle of waves. There is no rush here, only the rhythmic, peaceful motion of nature, an eternal lull that calms the mind. The traveller closes their eyes, sensing the gentle rise and fall of the vessel. Faint birdsong, distant from the shores of Atlantis, mingles with the hush of the sea. Overhead, seagulls wheel lazily, their soft calls echoing across the water. The traveller breathes in the pure ocean air, exhaling any remaining tension. Though Atlantis is no longer in sight, its spirit of tranquility remains, woven into the traveller's very being. The ocean surface glistens like liquid crystal, and the traveller floats onward, enveloped in the mystic wonder of a world that now feels boundless and comforting. Eventually, the traveller's eyes grow heavy, lulled by gentle swaying and the memory of the floating palace. Thoughts become soft echoes, drifting through the mind like clouds in a peaceful sky. The day's tasks and memories lie far behind, replaced by the quiet hush of the sea and the soft glow of early morning light. A sense of profound calm settles over the traveller's body. Arms slack, shoulders relaxed, each breath a slow, steady rhythm. Even the heartbeat seems to align with the gentle rise and fall of the ocean. Soft breezes brush across the traveller's skin, and the hush of waves becomes an invitation to let go fully, to sink into a comforting silence where only the lullaby of water remains. In the traveller's heart, gratitude flickers. Gratitude for the majesty of Atlantis, for the palace that floats in serenity, and for the chance to rest in this enchanting refuge of wonder. As the traveller drifts closer to a place of slumber, the last glimmers of consciousness linger on the tranquil images of shimmering halls, softly lit corridors, and ocean views so expansive they blend with the horizon. In that half-dreaming state, the palace remains close, an eternal refuge within. The hush of waves encourages each breath to deepen, allowing the traveller's mind to descend into the warm, tender embrace of sleep. The seas of Atlantis fade to gentle darkness, where body and soul find a peaceful sanctuary. And so, dear traveller, rest well. Let your dreams carry you on gentle tides to realms of calm and quiet magic. May the floating palace and the tranquil shores of Atlantis glow in your memories, guiding you ever deeper into serenity and peace. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well. Hello, my friend. I'm Owen Thorne, and I'd like to welcome you to a cozy, peaceful journey. Right now, settle into a soft spot, perhaps your bed or a comfortable chair, and gently close your eyes if that feels right. As you inhale, imagine drawing in tranquility, and as you exhale, let your muscles release any heaviness they've been holding. In just a moment, I will guide you to a quiet, forgotten castle on a rainy afternoon. For now, simply allow each breath to become slower, steadier, and calmer. Notice how your shoulders begin to fall away from your ears, how the space between your eyebrows softens, and how the warmth of relaxation starts to weave itself through every cell in your body. With each gentle inhale, you welcome a touch more serenity. With each easy exhale, you allow the cares of the day to dissolve like distant echoes. This space we are creating is for you, a restful sanctuary where thoughts can drift away on the soft hush of rain. Take one more deep breath. Let it fill your lungs, then let it go. Feel free to sink deeper into this gentle moment. Now, imagine the pitter-patter of a gentle rainfall as though it is falling upon ancient moss-covered stones. Envision a faint glow in the distance, something like candlelight, soft and golden. Let yourself be drawn to that warm, beckoning gleam as you continue to surrender to each soothing breath. There's no rush, no pressure. Take your time and allow your body and mind to unwind. You are entering a realm of timeless tranquility, where only the rhythmic lull of rain and the hush of centuries past exist. In a quiet corner of the countryside, far from the hum of busy roads and bright city lights, a forgotten castle stands amidst rolling hills. Thick ivy climbs its towering walls, and soft moss blankets crumbling stones. This ancient structure has weathered centuries of whispers and echoes, awaiting a gentle soul willing to listen to the stories it might tell. One rainy afternoon, clouds drift lazily overhead, filtering the sunlight into a muted glow that envelops everything with a sense of hushed enchantment. Silver raindrops glide down the old fortress walls, collecting into sparkling rivulets along the edges of weathered windows. Inside the castle, light from narrow stained glass windows pours onto the stone floor in quiet splashes of colour: pale blue, soft lilac, and tender gold. The corridors are wide, their ceilings curved in graceful arches. The sound of raindrops lightly tapping the roof echoes through every winding passage. Somewhere, an ancient wooden door stands just ajar, revealing a small courtyard that is open to the sky. Mossy flagstones glisten beneath the drizzle, and potted herbs, left by some caretaker long ago, still cling to life, scattering a faint fragrance of rosemary and thyme through the damp air. Drifting through these corridors, one might notice how the hush of each footstep seems to be swallowed by the thick stones. The centuries have softened the edges of the structure, rounding off the corners, and nature has begun to reclaim every nook and cranny. Ferns sprout from hairline cracks in the walls, while tiny streams of water find their way down meandering paths in the mortar. It is a place both grand and delicate, like a long-forgotten secret resting quietly, awaiting patient discovery. In a softly lit hall, near an arched window overlooking the courtyard, a small wooden table stands. Its surface bears the marks of time, with dense and faded patterns from decades of use. On the table, a single candle flickers, casting dancing shadows against the walls. The flame is sheltered beneath a glass lantern, and its glow feels reassuring, as though offering comfort in a space that has seen many silent years pass by. There is a chair by this table, draped with an old tapestry. A gentle figure arrives here on this rainy afternoon, seeking rest from a long journey. This figure, softly stepping on the cold floor, carries a sense of wonder, as if stepping back through the pages of history. Their shoes leave faint, damp footprints, quickly vanishing as the stone soaks up the moisture. They pause at the table, taking in the hush of the chamber, the subtle flicker of candlelight, and the soothing murmurs of raindrops overhead. Though the castle itself is silent, there is an unspoken invitation in the air, as if the ancient walls wish to share their calm. The figure places a gentle hand on the old tapestry-draped chair, feeling the worn threads beneath their fingertips. They settle themselves, letting out a quiet sigh of relief as they do. Outside the window, the rain intensifies for a moment, then eases again into a gentle patter. Within these walls, the day moves at a languid pace, each moment stretching out like a soft ribbon of time. It is in this peaceful lull that the figure notices a small corridor branching away from the hall. Drawn by quiet curiosity, they rise from the chair and wander down the corridor's length, guided by the soft echo of their own footsteps and the tiny droplets tapping on the roof above. Here and there, niches in the wall hold small relics: a chipped vase, a carved wooden horse, and even a weathered book whose cover has almost been worn blank. The figure's fingertips glide over these objects, each one resonating with the gentle hush of memory. Beyond the corridor is a library, or what remains of it. Bookshelves, made from dark, glossy wood, line the walls from floor to ceiling. Many of the shelves stand empty, but a few still hold stacks of parchment and leather-bound tomes. The smell in the air is a blend of old paper, earth, and the faintest hint of lavender, perhaps from a sachet left tucked between the pages by someone long ago. A tall window at the far end of the library is open just a sliver, letting in the damp fragrance of the rain-soaked courtyard. The figure steps closer, taking a moment to breathe in the gentle infusion of fresh air and ancient dust. On a reading table in the center of the library, a large volume rests. Its spine is cracked, and the edges of its pages are yellowed. A single gust of wind rustles the parchment. The figure leans over the book, runs a hand lightly over the cover, and carefully opens it to a random page. Inside, the words are delicate and handwritten, the letters looping gracefully. Though the language is old, perhaps half forgotten, the pages are filled with peaceful observations, records of weather patterns, notes on herbal remedies, and sketches of birds that once nested in the high turrets of the castle. It seems that whomever wrote in this book was a keen observer of the natural world, content to note every detail of a quiet life spent in harmony with the castle's surroundings. Outside, the rain continues, weaving a gentle percussive lullaby. Occasionally, a distant roll of thunder shimmers through the air, but it remains soft, more a comforting rumble than anything unsettling. The figure remains in the library for a time, lost in the calm hush of the castle's memory. Then, closing the great volume, they decide to explore further, curiosity leading them along gently lit halls and hidden doors. A narrow spiral staircase ascends from the library's corner. The steps are worn smooth by the footsteps of countless travellers who once climbed them. Some stones are chipped, but each feels solid beneath the figure's steady tread. Light from slit windows illuminates the spiral in ghostly intervals, accompanied by the ever-present whisper of the rain outside. Emerging onto a small landing, the figure notices another chamber, its door slightly open. This chamber is smaller, more intimate, lined with faded murals depicting pastoral scenes. Rolling hills, tall oak trees, and deer at rest beneath the boughs. The colours, though subdued by time, still hold a gentle warmth. A large window in the corner overlooks a courtyard below, where raindrops form ripples in a circular stone fountain. Lush green vines drape over the edges of the fountain, and the water is dark and reflective, mirroring the heavy sky above. Within this chamber lies a modest fireplace, its opening framed by carved stone vines and leaves. Though no fire burns now, there is an inviting sense of coziness, as though the space itself could easily awaken to warmth if a few logs were stacked and lit. A cushioned bench, perched beneath the window, calls with silent invitation. The figure moves toward it, sets down a small bundle, and gazes outside. They watch droplets trickle from the eaves, forming silver lines in the air, then splashing onto the fountain's surface. Each drop sends little ripples across the water, gentle circles expanding and merging in an unhurried dance. On the windowsill, a small candle holder stands, its wax long gone. Nearby, a cluster of smooth stones, perhaps collected from the courtyard, sits in an arrangement that suggests thoughtful care. The figure's eyes linger on these stones, imagining who might have placed them there and why. Perhaps, long ago, someone else found solace in the same view, setting small treasures along the ledge to watch them catch the glimmer of late afternoon light. Across the courtyard, droplets drip from the edges of sagging roofs. Moss clings to every surface, and tiny patches of wildflowers peek from cracks in the stones. Their pastel petals, pale blues, soft yellows, delicate pinks, contrast with the wet slate greys of the castle walls. It is a scene of gentle resilience, where life finds a way to flourish in the quietest places. Returning to the corridor, the figure follows a meandering path, taking in the soft glow that lingers near the windows. and the comforting dimness that fills the interior walls. The hush of the castle feels like an embrace, a reminder that sometimes the most profound peace can be found in forgotten corners and slow afternoons. Each step draws them deeper into the castle's rhythms, in tune with the patter of raindrops on ancient stone. At length, the figure discovers a corridor that leads to a wide, arched doorway. Beyond it lies a great hall, perhaps once used for gatherings, feasts, and music. Now, the vast space echoes with the subdued hush of rainfall. High above, a vaulted ceiling bears the faded remains of a painted sky, where mythic birds soar among wisps of cloud. The figure pauses to admire the artistry, imagining the once vibrant colours that might have adorned those winged silhouettes. At the centre of the great hall stands a long wooden table, its surface marked by time and etched with subtle designs. A few chairs remain, scattered around the edges, their upholstery worn and threadbare. Yet there is a gentle dignity about it all, a sense that within these stones resides a living memory of simpler, slower days. The raindrops continue to fall outside, nature's lullaby echoing through the tall windows. At one end of the great hall, tall, graceful doors open onto a balcony overlooking the rolling hills. Although the day is draped in grey, with low-hanging clouds hugging the horizon, there is something comforting in the sight. The figure steps onto the balcony. Stone balustrades, darkened by centuries of rain, line the edge, and a few delicate plants have found a foothold in the cracks. The air is fresh and cool. A gentle breeze carries the scent of damp earth and the faint perfume of flowering vines that cling to the outside walls. From this vantage point, the figure can see how the castle nestles into the landscape, its towers reaching modestly above the treetops, merging with the hush of the hills. Mist drifts lazily across the land, blurring the boundary between earth and sky, and pockets of light slip through the clouds, illuminating distant patches of green with a soft radiance. The figure rests their hands on the cool stone rail, feeling the subtle vibration of raindrops as they land. In this quiet moment, the only sounds are the whispers of wind, the distant coo of a dove hidden in the rafters, and the steady hush of water falling from the sky. Time passes gently as the figure stands there, letting the mind wander amid the rhythmic rainfall. The day feels suspended, as though the world outside these castle walls has momentarily paused, granting a precious space for rest. In that timeless quiet, an unspoken bond seems to form between the traveller and the ancient structure, as though the castle, in its silent watch, has welcomed this gentle presence. Eventually, with a deep, easy breath, the figure steps back from the balcony, returning once more to the great hall. Perhaps, they think, there is a hidden corner somewhere in this old fortress, a place to lie down for a while and listen to the raindrops as they whisper of centuries long past. Wandering across the hall's wide floor, the figure notices a small door to the left. Softly pushing it open, they find a set of shallow stairs leading down to another corridor, one that seems cozier, with lower ceilings and rounded arches, reminiscent of a warm burrow. Lamps once lit this passage, but time has taken its toll, and only the faint glow from narrow windows guides the way. The corridor leads to a room that may have once been personal quarters, perhaps for a caretaker or a member of the household. The space is modest but welcoming. A simple bed frame stands along one wall, layered with soft, tattered blankets. Opposite the bed sits a chest, its lid slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of woven fabrics inside. A window, smaller than the others, lets in the sweet sound of raindrops trickling down the glass. The figure approaches the bed, testing the mattress with a gentle press. Though old, it seems to hold a surprising comfort, as if it's been waiting for a weary soul to rest upon it. The traveller gently removes the top blanket and notices the subtle scent of lavender, perhaps stored with dried sprigs at some point in the past. This fragrance, mixed with the damp hush of the rainy air, creates a soothing lull. Tiredness seeps in like a comforting wave, reminding the figure that in places of true calm, rest comes easily. Outside, the rain continues to fall, a tender applause from the clouds, and within the castle walls, time drifts in a realm of its own. Lying down, the figure closes their eyes, feeling the old mattress cradle them with a surprising warmth. The hum of the rainfall is joined by the faint sigh of the wind, moving through the corridors like a gentle caretaker. Each breath draws in that delicate lavender scent, easing away lingering tension. The mind gradually sinks into a serene state, lulled by the knowledge that the castle stands guard around this peaceful moment, its stones imbued with centuries of stillness. As the figure dozes, the day grows ever softer. The sun, hidden behind grey clouds, begins its slow descent, and an even more subdued light fills the rooms and halls. Shadows lengthen across the floors in hushed tones, merging with the calm gloom that signals the approach of evening. Yet still, the rain plays its gentle rhythm, unhurried and comforting. In distant corners of the castle, water drips in slow droplets from ancient gutters into shallow pools, marking each moment with delicate, echoing plops. A dreamlike state settles over the space, time weaving in slow circles. The figure envisions soft images, perhaps the caretaker who once lived here, lighting a small oil lamp and opening the window to let in the night air. Maybe there were children's voices in these halls once, laughing and playing hide and seek in the many tucked away passageways. Perhaps the caretaker watched over them, ensuring that every corner remained safe and welcoming for exploration. Now, only the memory remains, held like a gentle secret in the hush of these stones. In the corridor outside, water seeps into the mortar, forming a pattern of delicate lines that glisten by candlelight. The figure stirs slightly, half aware of how the castle itself seems to breathe, as if the centuries have granted it a quiet consciousness. Every raindrop that falls on its roof is like a comforting pat on the shoulder, a reminder that nature, with its cycles of rain and renewal, helps cleanse away any weight that might linger. Waking from the light doze, the figure feels profoundly rested, as though hours have passed, though it may have been only moments. Rising from the old bed, they smooth the blanket, grateful for the space it provided. The corridor beckons once more with its gentle glow. Following it back towards the main hall, the figure steps lightly, each footstep subdued by the hush of ancient stone. Soon, they return to the spot near the high windows, where the rain outside has begun to taper off. The clouds shift, revealing a sliver of pale sunlight that casts a new glow across the castle's interior. The figure stands at a window and gazes out over the courtyard. The fountain brims with rainwater, forming a small pool of shimmering reflections. Ivy leaves glisten in the fresh wash, and the gentle drip-drip of water lingers in the mild hush. As the figure prepares to leave, the castle's corridors seem to offer a wordless blessing. It is as though the old fortress is grateful for the quiet companionship, for the chance to share its calm and hush with a weary traveller. The figure steps toward the grand entrance, occasionally running a hand over the smooth, worn walls, feeling the subtle hum of life that resonates within them. In the outer hall, a pair of sturdy doors lead to a modest courtyard gate, now dripping with rain, and beyond it lies the wide, tranquil landscape. Crossing the threshold, the traveller pauses on the castle's steps. The last droplets of rain sparkle in the muted light, forming delicate beads on the stone. A mild breeze sweeps through, carrying the earthy fragrance of damp soil and soaked greenery. Birds begin to stir in the trees, softly calling out, as if to welcome the quiet renewal that follows a gentle rainfall. Beyond the castle walls, rolling hills stretch into the distance, dotted with clusters of trees swaying in the waning drizzle. The figure breathes in deeply, letting the serenity of the scene imprint itself upon their heart. The castle behind them stands as it always has, quiet, patient, and filled with a solemn warmth. If walls could speak, they would murmur a humble farewell, reminding travellers that they are always free to return and rest again in the hush of ancient calm. Now, as the rhythm of the day winds down, you may imagine yourself drifting away from the castle, carrying that soft glow of peace deep within. Let your breathing slow and deepen once again. Each inhale brings the memory of the castle's cozy corridors. Each exhale releases any remaining tension. Notice your muscles growing looser, your arms and legs feeling warm and heavy, your heart at a gentle pace. That rain-soaked hush belongs to you now, a lullaby to guide you into a place of total rest. You can let your eyelids grow heavier if they haven't already. The body and mind sink into a comforting expanse, much like the castle's quiet halls. Thoughts that arise can drift by like clouds, and you can watch them float away. There is no need to follow them. If you wish, you can return to the memory of the ancient fortress whenever you like, to walk again among the ivy-covered walls and gaze out across misty hills. In your mind's eye, The soft glow of that rainy afternoon remains, inviting you to rest. Feel your breath flow with ease. Let each exhale be a gentle release. The day's cares have dissolved, replaced by the calm of old stone and the whisper of rain. Allow yourself to sink into the embrace of deep, restorative relaxation, free from any demands of the outside world. The hush you feel now is timeless. Let that castle of stillness stand watch over your dreams, offering sanctuary in its every corner. You are safe here, cradled by the lull of your own steady breathing. With each gentle beat of your heart, the invitation to sleep grows stronger. Picture the final rays of the afternoon sun fading into a quiet dusk, the raindrops becoming slower and softer until they're just a tender memory. The last threads of daylight slip away, ushering in a peaceful night filled with restful silence. In this moment, you have all the permission you need to let go, to release your mind and body fully into tranquil slumber. Good night, dear traveller. May your dreams carry you through the hushed corridors of ancient peace. Sleep well. Hello and welcome. My name is Owen Thorne, and I'm here to gently guide you into a realm of deep rest. Before we embark on this tranquil journey, settle yourself into a comfortable position, allowing the tension in your body to soften with each breath. Notice how the air feels as you inhale, cool and refreshing, and how it flows warmly as you exhale. Picture yourself in a safe, cozy space, far from the bustle of the day. Let your shoulders relax, your jaw release, and your thoughts begin to drift. This is your time, dear traveler, to simply be. As you breathe softly, imagine a blanket of calm settling over you. Each inhale draws in serenity, while each exhale carries away any trace of unease. Listen to the gentle rhythms of your own breath, a constant, reassuring companion. In this moment, there is nothing else you need to do and nowhere you need to be. Let all the busyness of the day fade like distant echoes. Allow any remaining concerns to float away, drifting into the background. Feel how, with every breath, you are entering a space of warmth, relaxation, and quiet anticipation for the story ahead. Simply be. Let your eyelids grow heavy, each gentle blink drawing you deeper into this sanctuary of quiet. There is no rush here, no expectations. Only the soothing embrace of tranquility. Breathe slowly, surrendering to the calm. Soon, you will drift into a story that awaits your peaceful presence. The mist lay thick over the valley, a gentle hush upon every hillside and meadow. In the early evening twilight, a charming train rested at the old station, its carriages painted in soft, muted tones that blended seamlessly with the fog. Lanterns glowed along the platform, casting warm, golden halos into the surrounding haze. A gentle wind whispered through the nearby trees, their leaves rustling like a distant lullaby. It was a place that invited stillness, a pause in time. The locomotive, breathing puffs of steam, seemed ready to carry any soul who wished to find solace in its pace. A solitary figure stepped aboard the train, drawn by the promise of a slow, comforting journey through the misty valley. Soft lamplight filled the carriage, illuminating plush seats in hues of midnight blue and beige. The windows framed only the fog's quiet curtain, giving the impression of floating through a dream. The traveller settled into a seat, noticing the rhythmic ticking of a nearby clock, each second passing with soothing regularity. There was no hurry, no urgency, just a gentle anticipation of rolling forward into the unknown. Outside, the station lights glimmered faintly, like distant stars in a dreamy sky. Slowly, the train began to move, wheels turning with a clatter against the rails. The gentle motion lulled the traveller into a state of calm, the world outside dissolving into swirling shades of grey. Each carriage light flickered as the train passed under old iron bridges and through narrow tunnels. With every passing moment, the fog grew thicker, embracing the train like a protective veil. There was a sensation of being gently carried away from the noise of busy days, deeper into a realm where thought and breath could stretch wide, unhurried, at ease, in perfect harmony with the night. Through the mist-shrouded windows, lantern lights inside the carriage painted cozy reflections on the glass, shimmering like soft fireflies in the quiet dark. The traveller listened to the rhythmic hum of the tracks, a steady pulse that matched the heartbeat of night. Occasionally, the shape of a distant tree or hillside peeked through the fog, only to vanish again into gentle obscurity. The traveller's thoughts drifted across memories of simpler times, each recollection soothed by the comforting sway of the train. It felt as though the carriage itself glided upon clouds, weightless and unhurried, carrying hopes, dreams, and quiet wonder. As the train wound deeper into the valley, the mist outside seemed to glow with a pale luminescence, lit by the faintest moonlight filtering through drifting clouds. The carriage interior was hushed, as though the mist itself had slipped inside to cradle every sound. Occasionally, a gentle whistle from the locomotive resonated across the empty fields, echoing like a call in a dream. The traveller leaned back, letting breath flow in time with the steady rocking beneath them. Each moment brought a quiet revelation. The world could pause, allowing hearts to rest, thoughts to unfurl, and peace to gently settle. In a nearby compartment, an old conductor walked through the aisle, collecting tickets and nodding with a kind smile to every passenger. Though only a few travellers occupied the carriage, each seemed wrapped in their own reverie, lulled by the lullaby of the rails. The conductor paused at the traveller's seat, politely checking the ticket, then offering a gentle bow before moving on. No words disturbed the hush, only a shared understanding lingered, like soft music that needed no language. Outside, distant hills waited, their slopes hidden by a velvety curtain of fog, inviting the train onward into hushed mystery. The valley was known for its gentle contours and silent waters, a place where legends of peaceful spirits and whispered lullabies circulated like echoes on a breeze. Tonight, under the watchful glow of a hidden moon, the air felt charged with a benevolent stillness. Fields and streams slumbered beneath the thick haze, as if time itself had slowed to a graceful waltz. The traveller gazed at the faint outlines that slipped past the window, each hint of shape inviting the imagination to wander. It was a quiet enchantment, an invitation to rest mind and spirit, safe in the train's lull. Gradually, the train rolled past a tucked-away hamlet, where dimly lit cottages perched by winding lanes. Their windows shone with the faint glow of lamps, revealing the silhouettes of families turned in for the night. A soft trail of smoke rose from chimneys, mingling with the fog and forming ghostly shapes in the sky. The distant sound of a dog barking reached the traveller's ears, only to fade gently into the whistle of the locomotive. Every scene passed slowly, as though the train itself respected the valley's need for rest, carrying its passengers onward with tender, unhurried care and hush. Inside the carriage, soft conversation occasionally arose, but never disturbed the soothing calm. A travelling musician quietly hummed a lullaby, fingers grazing invisible strings, while a poet jotted verses in a worn notebook, capturing fleeting impressions of mist and moonlight. The traveller observed these companions with a sense of kinship, sensing that they too sought the solace of night's embrace. There was a shared stillness between them, a silent understanding that this journey was meant for reflection and rest. Each passenger found comfort in the gentle lull of the train, free to linger in introspection and appreciate the quiet ride. Outside, the valley's mist thickened, weaving around the train in ever-changing patterns. Silvery moonbeams emerged from behind drifting clouds, illuminating patches of rolling farmland and giving the fog an ethereal, shimmering quality. It was as though the entire world had been hushed to welcome the train's passage, inviting quiet wonder to bloom in every heart aboard. A gentle breeze traced over the meadows, carrying the distant scent of wildflowers and damp earth. The traveller inhaled this subtle perfume, feeling it expand within the lungs, calming the mind and loosening each tight knot of thought, leaving room for only serene contemplation. Each carriage corridor glowed with subdued light, creating pockets of warmth amidst the shadowy ambience. Occasionally, the traveller rose to stretch stiff limbs, wandering through the train to catch glimpses of the valley from different angles. Every perspective unveiled the same dreamlike landscape, bathed in moonlit fog, quiet and still. A hush followed the traveller's footsteps, as though the train itself encouraged silence and reflection. The gentle sway of the floor beneath offered a reminder of the unhurried journey, one that invited the spirit to drift freely, unbound from the weight of the day, open to the serenity of night. In the lounge car, a lamp cast a glow upon polished tables, where a few passengers sipped tea or cocoa. Plush cushions awaited those seeking a comfortable nook for quiet contemplation. A low murmur of contentment spread from seat to seat as each person surrendered to the lulling effect of the train's unhurried progress. The traveller paused to admire a small vase of wildflowers placed atop a nearby table, their petals softly reflecting the lamplight. In that bloom lay a hint of spring, a promise of renewal, carried through the night by this timeless train across the Valley of Dreams. Satisfied by the company of the lounge, the traveller returned to a private seat, gazing once more at the window's shifting scene. The valley stretched out like a vast tapestry, woven from moonlight and mist. Each passing moment felt like an invitation to drift deeper into serene thought. No troubles seemed able to reach here, no hurried demands, only the promise of stillness. The train's rocking mirrored a cradle, lulling every passenger into tranquility. Gradually, the boundaries between mind and mist began to blur, ushering in a sense of oneness with the valley's calm as the night carried them onward. Beyond the train's windows, the distant silhouettes of mountains arose, their peaks hidden by swirling vapor. The railway curved, tracing the contours of the land and revealing new vistas with each turn. Occasionally, The pale gleam of starlight broke through the clouds, sprinkling the mist with shimmering highlights. The valley expanded before the traveller's eyes like a secret garden, each layer of fog hinting at hidden wonders. Shadows danced across farmland and forest, where gentle creatures dozed in peaceful slumber. A profound hush stretched across the landscape, as though creation itself paused to inhale, waiting for the exhale of dawn. Yet the night was far from over, and the train pressed on, carrying its passengers along ribbons of steel. Each carriage softly rocked, a cradle of comfort that sheltered them from the world's worries. The traveller felt a sense of gentle curiosity, imagining the countless stories unfolding in the valley's hidden corners. Perhaps there were night-blooming flowers opening petals to the moon, or woodland creatures stirring in quiet harmony. The train chugged softly onward, carrying these wonders like treasured secrets. Within the carriage, eyelids grew heavier, lulled by the steady tempo of tracks, a lullaby for weary souls seeking respite. In this haven of motion and mist, the traveller's thoughts meandered through memories of soft laughter, comforting hugs, and the gentle guidance of old friends. Faces flickered across the mind like faint lanterns in the darkness, reminders of how every journey is enriched by shared warmth. The train became a metaphor for life itself, ever moving forward, sometimes through haze and shadow, yet always carrying hope within its carriage. Outside, the valley whispered its secrets through rustling leaves and gentle breezes, inviting each heart on board to listen for the quiet truths that appear only when the world is still. Time seemed to flow differently on this moonlit ride, stretching and contracting in a soothing, elastic rhythm. The traveller found that hours meant little here, for the hush of the valley brought an unspoken permission to drift without constraint. A distant owl hooted, its call echoing across the foggy fields, a quiet reminder of life stirring beyond the carriage. The train's lights glowed softly, guiding the way forward, while within the traveller's mind, peace expanded, drifting along corridors of recollection. The outside world gently awaited the next sunrise, but for now, everyone aboard revelled in the lull of midnight tranquility. Gradually, a sense of deepening rest settled upon the carriage. Even those who were quietly alert felt their eyelids grow heavier. The train, patient and unwavering, continued along its path, content to move through the valley's shrouded embrace. Stars sparkled above, bright pinpricks in the velvety sky, while the moon occasionally peered from behind a drifting veil of cloud. Inside, the soft lights glimmered against polished wood and velvet upholstery, casting shadows that waltzed to the steady rhythm of rolling wheels. The traveller, lulled by the motion, began to sink into a place of near dream, suspended between awareness and sleep. As the train weaved through the heart of the valley, the traveller closed tired eyes, letting the lull of engine and rail guide each breath. The mind drifted, wandering through half-formed visions of misty forests and starlit rivers, reflections merging with the gentle sway of the carriage. a quiet contentment grew, like a soft glow emanating from deep within. All sense of hurry faded, replaced by a calm acceptance of the moment. Outside, the valley slumbered peacefully, its secrets tucked away until the dawn's gentle light returned. For now, the train remained a sanctuary of moonlit dreams and quiet wonder. Eventually, the tracks would lead beyond the valley, carrying every passenger toward new destinations and bright horizons. But that moment lay far ahead, and in the present hush, nobody longed for arrival. Instead, they cherished the hypnotic lull of a ride through night's hidden splendor. The traveler knew that this experience would linger, a memory of comfort and stillness, woven into future dreams. Each heartbeat seemed synchronized with the soft pulse of the locomotive, forging a bond between person and machine. In this merging, the traveler felt utterly safe, cradled by the valley's fog, carried by the train's gentle grace. The train continues its slow path, carrying the traveler through soothing darkness. Breaths grow longer, muscles loosen, thoughts settle like leaves on still water. The carriage seems quieter now. Each subtle sound blends into a harmony, the wheels on rails, the soft hum of lantern light, the distant whisper of wind against windows. With eyes closed or half open, the traveler drifts closer to slumber. There is no hurry. There is only the soft cradle of night. Let the cadence of the train lull every thought. Let the valley's hush cradle each breath. In this meditative moment, all is calm, all is safe, all is at peace. The misty valley, the rolling train, and the hush of night become one quiet lullaby. You are resting. Drift. Softly, the journey carries on, yet you feel yourself sinking deeper into the comforting darkness. The steady heartbeat of the train ushers you toward peaceful dreams. Each breath dissolves tension. Each moment invites deeper rest. Outside, the world slumbers, cradled in moonlit mist. Inside, your mind grows lighter. Thoughts float away, leaving a quiet space for gentle sleep to unfold. Let the last threads of wakefulness slip from your grasp. Allow yourself to surrender fully to the lull of the night. This train, this valley, this hush, they are all here to cradle your dreams. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well, held by the arms of twilight. May your rest be deep, your dreams serene, your soul at peace. When morning comes, you will awaken renewed. Hello, my name is Owen Thorne, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this gentle bedtime story. As you settle in, let your entire body grow heavier, sinking softly into your bed or favorite chair. Your eyes can drift closed if they wish, and with each slow breath, feel any lingering tension slip away. In a moment, we'll explore a peaceful morning scene at Snow White's cottage, where the first rays of the sun dance through tall forest trees, and birdsong floats on the misty air. For now, simply allow yourself to be here, in this quiet space, and let the outside world fade. Feel your shoulders ease down, your jaw loosen, and your mind begin to wander on the edge of awareness. Focus on the gentle rhythm of your breath. Inhale the restful energy around you, and exhale all that feels burdensome or distracting. This is your time, a calm retreat from the demands of the day. Let your breathing guide you deeper into relaxation, each measured breath leading you toward a softer, slower pace. Notice how your body feels heavier, yet somehow lighter at the same time. You are safe, you are warm, and you are ready to embark on a journey through soft rays of dawnlight and the comforting hush of forest leaves. Now, as you settle more completely, prepare to drift into a tranquil realm where a simple cottage waits in the early morning glow, touched by the promise of a new day. From this moment on, let the story unfold in its own gentle rhythm, carrying you toward rest. The forest is waiting, and a gentle hush envelops the clearing where Snow White's cottage stands. The sun is only just peeking over the horizon. Beyond the wildflowers and whispering pines, the tale begins. In a quiet glade at the heart of an old forest, Snow White's cottage welcomed the first pearly beams of sunrise. Overnight dew still crowned the blades of grass, tiny droplets reflecting the dawn like precious jewels. A delicate hush hung upon the clearing, the kind of softness that exists only in those fleeting moments before the birds wake to greet the sun. High above, the sky was a canvas gently shifting from midnight blue to lavender, and then blossoming into a pale rose. Each color spread across the heavens as smoothly as watercolors, blending on an artist's palette. Inside the cottage, a warm stillness filled the small, tidy rooms. Wooden beams stretched overhead, and modest furniture, carved by careful hands, offered a comforting sense of home. The fireplace, used the night before to heat a pot of vegetable soup, now slumbered in cool ashes. Only the faint scent of sweet herbs and spices lingered in the air, hinting at the peaceful meal shared the evening prior. Everything spoke of quiet contentment. The wooden bowls stacked neatly on a shelf, the braided rug that protected bare feet from a chilly floor, and the window curtains drawn back to invite the day's gentle light. Snow White rested in a little bed near a window slightly ajar. A breeze, faint and gentle, caressed her cheek as it slipped in, bringing with it the earthy fragrance of pine needles and damp wildflowers. Outside, the forest seemed to wait with bated breath. The hush was not absence of sound, but rather a reverent pause. Gradually, as though deciding the moment was ripe, the birds began their dawn chorus. One by one, slender throats trilled and sang, weaving a tapestry of delicate melodies. Their calls rippled through the air, sweet and uplifting, coaxing the forest to awaken. The first note, like a distant flute, came from a tall spruce near the cottage's eaves, announcing the start of daybreak. Another bird joined in from a hidden branch among the oaks, adding a vibrant warble. Soon the chorus grew, each feathered friend contributing its own unique phrase. Whistles, chirps, and soft coos. The sound was like the gentle unravelling of sleep, a melodic stirring that teased any lingering dreams away. Across the glade, a hush of admiration accompanied these voices, for no one and nothing seemed rushed. The forest revealed its beauty at a leisurely pace, allowing time to savour each breath, each moment, and each new ray of sunlight. Snow White stirred softly as that dawn chorus seeped into her slumber. Her eyelids fluttered, and she stretched beneath a cozy blanket. Curiosity led her to open her eyes just a little, peeking at the pastel glow of morning through the window. The day was still young, the light still soft. She breathed in the crisp morning air, tinged with the scent of wild chamomile. The gentle music of birds reached her ears, and she felt a serene joy bloom in her chest, as if every note was a kindly invitation to greet the day with gratitude. A simple wooden dresser stood against the cottage wall, adorned with a modest bouquet of forest flowers. Snow White had picked the previous afternoon. Their petals had slightly wilted overnight, yet they still radiated a quiet charm. The memory of gathering them, of kneeling by sunlit patches of green, gently placing each stem in a basket, tugged softly at her heart. She rose from her bed, the old wooden floor cool beneath her feet, and approached the window, wanting to see how the morning had dressed the forest. The hush of the world beyond, broken only by birdsong, soothed her fully awake with kindness rather than urgency. Pushing the window open, she let the air swirl in more freely, scattering the delicate curtains. It carried with it the rustle of leaves overhead and the faint tinkling of a hidden stream somewhere behind the cottage. The birds, upon seeing Snow White's silhouette, seemed to sing all the more enthusiastically. In that glade, under the tender reach of sunlight, the cottage appeared almost like a vision from a gentle dream, a place that existed between the boundaries of the waking world and the realm of hushed fantasy. Stepping outside, Snow White took in the forest around her. Tall pines and mighty oaks stood like guardians, their branches swaying in the mild breeze. A carpet of soft moss pressed comfortably beneath her shoes, and whenever she stepped closer to patches of wildflowers, a sweet fragrance rose to greet her. She smiled at a robin perched on a post near the cottage door, its bright eyes reflecting the soft morning glow. The small creature tilted its head as if to say good morning. In that magical quiet, even the simplest greetings felt special. Gathering a wooden bucket, she walked a short path to an ancient well that stood amid a ring of stones. Overhead, More birds darted from branch to branch, cutting graceful shapes in the mild air. With a gentle hum, Snow White lowered the bucket, hearing the dull splash echo up from the darkness below. As she pulled it back, water glistened in the first direct rays of sunlight. Tiny droplets sparkled, then fell back in glittering arcs, giving everything a sense of subdued enchantment. She paused for a moment, just to breathe and feel the morning around her. A symphony of bird calls, the cool of water, the comforting presence of the forest. Once she returned to the cottage, she poured some of the fresh water into a basin near the door. A few birds, braver than the rest, fluttered down to drink, happily chirping as if they had no worries at all. Their gentle conversation mingled with Snow White's soft laughter. She knelt quietly, so as not to startle them, and watched their glossy feathers ruffle in delight. Time seemed suspended in that tender exchange of trust and warmth. Inside, a cozy kitchen nook awaited. The small table, lovingly built from sturdy pine, sat beneath a window that let in a lively golden beam. Tiny motes of dust danced in that shaft of light, swirling gently whenever the breeze sneaked through a crack in the door. Snow White moved about, setting out a simple breakfast of fresh berries and warm bread. She inhaled the comforting aroma, and as she took a quiet moment to settle at the table, she contemplated the gentle miracle of morning. Each day brought new chances to open one's eyes to nature's gifts. A sunrise, birds in flight, a glistening drop of dew. On the edge of the clearing, near a cluster of birch trees, small woodland creatures began to stir. A family of rabbits with soft ears and bright eyes ventured out from under a tangle of brush. They sniffed the air before hopping forward in playful little bounds, exploring the grass dappled in patches of sunlight. Nearby, a pair of squirrels chattered as they raced up a trunk, pausing occasionally to peek at the clearing, as if marveling at the gentle scene themselves. Snow White finished her meal and moved outside again, drawn by the peaceful company of the forest. She made her way to a hand-carved bench near a cluster of ferns. Moss grew around its base, and delicate patterns of lichen spread across the wood. Settling there, she closed her eyes to listen fully to the songs around her. A shy finch glided overhead, adding a cheery trill to the breeze's hushed rustle. Every note was vibrant yet soothing, weaving through her thoughts until her mind felt light and clear. The sunlight deepened its gold as the morning progressed, yet within that forest glade, everything remained tranquil. Shadows stretched a little longer, and the dew on each leaf began to evaporate in slow, shimmering wisps. Gentle warmth spread across the cottage's stone walls. The forest awakened further, but never in a rush. Each moment felt like a secret, soft, intimate, and graciously offered to those who paused to witness it. Leaves brushed against one another softly, and the sound was akin to a whisper, the forest exchanging sweet nothings with the wind. In time, Snow White rose, drawn by the gentle urge to tend the cottage garden. She walked around the cottage's side where a small patch of herbs grew: rosemary, thyme, and mint. Dewdrops still clung to the leaves, and she carefully patted the moisture away before picking a few sprigs. The crisp, clean aroma filled the morning air, blending perfectly with the surrounding scents of pine and wild blossom. Beside the herbs, a row of young flowers held their bright heads up to the sun, as though greeting it with shy optimism. Snow White spent a peaceful few minutes weeding, ensuring each plant had space and air to flourish. The earth felt cool against her hands, and that physical connection grounded her in the present moment. Overhead, more birds arrived, drawn by the cottage's safety and the gentle energy that radiated from it. They perched on branches, forming a lively chorus that rose and fell in harmonious waves. Bluebirds, cardinals, sparrows, their voices mingled, creating a living lullaby that both awakened the world and soothed it simultaneously. The forest carried their songs far beyond the clearing, stirring drowsy creatures to greet the day with gentle curiosity. After some quiet work in the garden, Snow White paused and brought a hand to her chest, feeling a soft gratitude for the simple joys of the morning. She thought of how precious it was to witness the world unfolding in these gentle hours, far from busyness and worry. Soft pine needles formed a cushion beneath her feet as she strolled toward a cluster of daisies swaying gently. She knelt down, letting her fingers brush the white petals, noticing how each flower turned slightly to follow the sun. The cottage door stood open, welcoming in the breeze and the songs that drifted across the glade. Softly, Snow White moved inside, crossing to a small wooden cupboard where she kept a few well-worn books and scraps of parchment filled with recipes for breads, pies, and teas. From within, she took a journal, bound simply in cloth. She opened it to jot down notes of the morning's wonders, the colour of the sunrise, the songs she heard, the calm she felt. Her handwriting flowed, each letter a reflection of the serenity in her heart. By mid-morning, a warm, comforting glow spread throughout the clearing. The birds, in various corners of the forest canopy, continued their music, though now at a gentler volume, as though they too were settling into the day. Snow White stood by the open window, hands lightly resting on the windowsill, gazing out at the gentle hustle of small forest life. Bees hummed over the wildflowers, their gentle drone blending into the ambient hush. In that moment, everything seemed to align in perfect harmony. Nature's subtle rhythms, the sun's slow ascent, and the quiet contentment that warmed each stone in the cottage walls. Wishing to share her gratitude, Snow White stepped out again with a small clay bowl filled with seeds. Quiet as she was, some of the shyer birds took flight at her approach, fluttering to higher branches to watch with bright eyes. She sprinkled the seeds on a patch of soft earth near the cottage's entrance, then stepped back to watch. One by one, curious birds hopped down, first a brave robin, then a gentle sparrow, followed by a couple of chittering finches. They pecked at the seeds, their little heads bobbing up and down. With no hurry or fear, they ate, occasionally pausing to glance at the calm figure who offered this morning treat. The gentle day pressed on, the sense of time stretching like a soft ribbon carried by the breeze. Nothing demanded urgency. No voices broke the hush with clamour. Instead, the forest breathed in a collective reverie, and the cottage stood at its heart like a keeper of quiet wonders. Shadows, once long and faint, shifted as the sun reached higher overhead. Rays filtered through branches, illuminating patches of moss, small clusters of mushrooms, and the occasional scurrying chipmunk searching for a morsel to nibble. Snow White took a shallow wooden bucket and strolled to the edge of the forest where wild berry bushes flourished. Their leaves rustled as she approached, and a few small birds fluttered out from the thickets, startled but unafraid. She found ripe berries glistening in the soft light, small jewels of red and blue. Carefully, she picked them, placing each gently in the bucket, mindful of the forest's delicate balance. She hummed a lilting tune under her breath, inspired by the melodies that had drifted through the dawn. With each berry collected, she remembered simpler times, moments spent in the warm sunshine of past mornings, the closeness of friends, the sense of quiet optimism that accompanied every sunrise. The day's tasks were soothing by nature, no rush, no heavy burdens. There was only this harmonious collaboration between the cottage's caretaker and the living forest around it. Even the gentle rustling of her skirt against the tall grass seemed part of the greater melody that played in the clearing. Back at the cottage, she rinsed the berries in cool water, reveling in the clean, sweet scent that rose from them. On the rustic wooden counter, she arranged them in a simple bowl, the deep reds and purples glowing in the shafts of sunlight that drifted in through the open door. She sat for a moment, admiring their natural beauty. Now and then, the wind carried a distant birdsong or the faint murmur of a creek. Each sound reminded her of the morning's gentle gift. Hours passed in a sleepy current of peace. Snow White paused to rest, sitting on the old bench by the ferns. She let her mind wander as the gentle hush lulled her into a light doze. The forest was calm yet lively, a study in balance. The bright wings of a butterfly flashed nearby, and the hush of the breeze through leaves played like an endless lullaby. In that suspended moment, it felt as though time itself had slowed to honor the beauty of nature's daily renewal. Even the sunshine seemed calmer, caressing rather than glaring. As midday approached, the birds softened their songs into mellow chirrups, a kind of conversation among themselves, as though they, too, were resting in the comfortable warmth. The beams of sunlight shifted once more, illuminating new corners of the clearing. Everything remained harmonious and gentle, an unbroken thread of calm that winded softly through the hours. Eventually, Snow White rose from her peaceful seat to gather a few more necessities, checking on the small stored items in her cupboard, and ensuring her simple home was in gentle order. She took pleasure in small tasks, folding linens, tidying a shelf, and dusting a little wooden figure shaped like a fawn. Each simple act felt meditative, a way of communing with the quiet around her. The forest outside continued its subtle song, the hush of leaves and the rustle of small creatures shifting like a comfortable lull in the background. In this realm, there was no rush, no pressing duty, and no conflict, only the continuous, comforting presence of the tall trees and the soft beams of an ever-patient sun. The cottage stood as a sanctuary for all who passed by. Birds, rabbits, squirrels, and the occasional deer stepping through the dappled light. Here, the morning elongated into a dreamy reverie, as if time willingly paused to let the world rest. Beyond the well and the wildflowers, the hidden creek whispered, its gentle trickle an anchor of calm. The water had made its winding way from distant hills, carrying with it a melody as ancient as the forest itself. If one listened closely, it was possible to hear a lullaby in the water's song, something that reminded the listener of safe harbors, gentle evenings, and the unbroken chain of life that connected all living things. The birds understood this lullaby, for their own songs rose in a playful counterpoint, shifting to match the creek's gentle, mesmerizing flow. Through it all, Snow White existed in a state of quiet gratitude. She tended her small chores, welcomed the company of forest creatures, and found in each breath a reminder that the morning's hush was a gift. The world around her glowed in a tender, forgiving light. Flowers opened their delicate petals, and the leaves above swayed in a languid dance, as if saluting the bright orb of the sky. In this place, there was no cause for alarm, no reason to hurry. The cottage itself seemed to cradle all who entered, wrapping them in a soft calm that dissolved troubles and invited gentle, thoughtful reflection. As the sun's rays began to slope toward afternoon, the glade still maintained that precious early morning tranquility. The forest was a vast tapestry, each part woven with care. Birds, trees, flowers, the mild hush of wind, and the steady, comforting presence of the cottage. It was a place set apart, shielded by ancient bark and cushioned by thick moss. Each creature that stepped into the clearing felt the gentle magic of a world at peace, where worries and cares fell away like leaves in a mild autumn breeze. And so, in that serene realm, the day continued in easy harmony, a testament to the beauty that emerges when dawn gently opens its arms to welcome the life of a new day. As dusk began to hint at its eventual approach, the glade still shimmered with a soft glow. The birds now sang in a relaxed cadence, and the warm hush of the forest invited a winding down. Snow White tidied her small home, putting away any stray items and making sure the windows were partly open to let the evening air drift in when the sun finally set. With a gentle heart, she gazed around the single-room cottage, content in its simplicity. Soon, the sunlight lengthened into golden beams that kissed the treetops. The leaves shimmered, caught in the fleeting embrace of the day's last bright glow. Softly, animals returned to their hidden homes, lulled into the hush that precedes nightfall. The forest, still full of life, began to slow its pace. Snow White prepared a light supper, the pleasant scent carrying into the clearing, encouraging one last flurry of curiosity from the small creatures that lingered outside. But even their movements softened, as though lulled by the promise of rest. With the meal finished and the cottage tidy, Snow White took a final moment to step outside. Standing on the threshold, she quietly observed the lowering sun as it gilded the tops of the tallest pines. Birds, yawning in their own way, settled into nests among the branches, letting out soft, sleepy chirps. The hush of twilight fell, encouraging the cottage and its surroundings into deeper repose. A few last notes of birdsong drifted across the clearing, gentle and dreamlike, as if to say goodnight. Satisfied, Snow White re-entered the cozy cottage and eased the door shut with care. The early day that had begun with delicate birdsong was coming to an end, carrying with it a sense of fulfillment. The forest, grateful for its hours of light, slowly relaxed into evening's gentle embrace. Inside the cottage, the air was warm and comforting, scented with the sweet memory of wildflowers and herbs. Snow White moved to her bed near the window, the same window that welcomed the dawn's first light. She drew the curtains slightly, leaving just enough space for moonbeams to slip through later on. There, in the gentle hush, she settled down, the soft blanket drawn across her. The rhythmic sound of her own breath seemed to echo the forest's slow exhalation. Each breath became a quiet invitation to embrace the night's rest. Outside, the last notes of bird calls were nearly spent, replaced by the subdued lull of crickets tuning their evening chorus. The trees barely stirred in the mild breeze, and the glade itself seemed to sink into a contented sleep. In that silence, the cottage walls stood as steadfast guardians, creating a cocoon of warmth and safety. Overhead, the sky turned to a quiet blue, gently darkening. Stars would soon begin their faint glow, peering through the thick canopy of leaves. The clearing, once bright with morning, now settled into a calm twilight hush. All through the forest, creatures large and small prepared for rest. The wind, gentle as a lullaby, soothed them. The day's tasks were done, and the stillness of the hour invited dreams. Even the memory of the dawn's vibrancy seemed to whisper its encouragement. To lie down, to let go, and to drift into the realm of slumber, where everything softens and peace reigns. Inside the cottage, Snow White's breathing grew slower, her eyelids fluttering shut. A deep tranquility enveloped her, folding her into restful darkness that glowed with the memory of a sunlit morning. Beyond the cottage door, the forest sighed in harmony with her. The branches overhead made a soft canopy, leaves rustling in a final lullaby, and the small stream in the distance whispered its endless song. The hush that had welcomed the dawn now cradled the approaching night, a perfect circle of peace and renewal. In this timeless haven, nature's lullaby offered a promise. Every dawn brings a chance for gentle beginnings, and every night invites a healing rest. In the comforting hush of that twilight, the birds and forest friends found their places of safety. Sleep grew thick and comforting, wrapping them in the memory of the day's gentle wonders. The forest was at peace. The night was mild. Each star that emerged overhead was like a small promise of tomorrow's light. Now, at your own edge of awareness, feel the quiet that lingers in the glade. Imagine the hush of trees all around you, the soft drifting of dusk, and the faint echo of birdsong as they settle for the night. Breathe in and let that calm spread through your body, as if you too are part of that tranquil place. Feel your muscles relax, your thoughts slow, and the gentle heaviness that invites deep rest. This is the time to let all cares fade away, like distant echoes in a quiet forest. No more worries, no more obligations, only the soft hush of your breath and the assurance that, just like the forest, you can surrender to a peaceful, healing sleep. Rest now, dear traveler of dreams. May you find serenity in the lull of the night, and wake with the promise of a new dawn. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.